speaking, who is our general manager here for Transdev in the Phoenix Valley. Just want to tell a little bit of a story that happened the other night. I just happened to be out with our group printing one of our offers to the union, and the clerk at the printing company that I went to happens to be a rider of public transit, and he noticed as he was helping us print these documents, he said he went to work every day on public transit and asked, is there any chance that the strike is going to happen? Is it going to be off? Kind of tell me what's going on. And I said, well, unfortunately, I don't know at this point. But he is a classic example of one of the 80,000 people that ride Transdev buses each week here in the Phoenix Valley that's impacted by this strike. He's one of the unfortunate people. That's what this strike is all about, and that's what getting a resolution to this strike is all about as quickly as possible. Now, we have been here since 10 o'clock this morning. The mayor asked us to come back to the table. I'm going to need to go back upstairs in just a moment to begin our meetings, but just a little recap of things that I want to make sure everybody understands what the story is. Our offer included a 3% wage increase each year for 5 years. When you compound that, 3% on top of 3% on top of 3%, it equals 15.92% over 5 years. That's a tremendous offer in today's environment, in this type of business, public transit, where this year the average settlement was 2.3%. We're also accepted the union's health insurance plan that they brought to the table, and we pay 90% of the cost of that plan for the individual, but also, more importantly, 90% of the family coverage, which is, as you probably are aware, number one, that's a good participation by an employer, but number two, family coverage is expensive, and 90% is a huge amount, and I think that's pretty high for any other industry around. So those are kind of the key things. One other thing that we did was we made some improvements to the vacations, especially for the middle group of employees. And then the union had asked us to get rid of the two-tier on vacations, and we'll be doing that. We offered that and happening in the year 2020, the beginning of the year 2020. So it goes away at that time. So at this time, I'll be glad to answer any questions. Just be understanding that we've got to get back upstairs in just a few minutes. So we'll be glad to take questions.
You said you made this offer and you sort of explained it. What was it that they told you that was not acceptable, why they couldn't take this offer?
There are a couple of smaller items, and to tell you the truth, I really don't understand. It hasn't been a big major item. There are a couple of things that we've heard, as a matter of fact, through the news media, restrooms, things like that. But those were barely addressed at the table. And this morning or yesterday, I heard about Smart Drive, which is a security safety camera that's on the buses. The buses already had cameras. This is just a safety camera that views out the front of the bus and views the driver. And so I really don't understand. They haven't really expressed that as to us as the true issue that we're having this strike over.
If you could kind of explain to us again, why do you feel this is such a good deal, relatively speaking?
3% a year is a tremendous deal. I'm not sure how many of us are getting at 3%, or how many people that are out there that either ride the bus or are participating in the workforce are getting 3% a year, and much less guaranteed for 5 years. And then 90% on the health insurance is a very, very good deal.
What do you say to all the riders out there right now that are standing out in the rain?
I apologize to them. I am very sorry that we are at the point that we are at. But, I have a fiscal responsibility to the city of Phoenix. I have a fiscal responsibility to the citizens of the Valley to run the most efficient system that we can. And that's what we're trying to do, and yet be fair to our employees at the same time.
What are you guys doing to make up the time on the routes? As far as I know, there's still buses running on the routes, just not the frequency that they were. So
there are buses out running this morning. I was very pleased with the amount of service that we're able to get out on the first day. And hopefully that will increase each day as we go forward. It's unfortunate that this has all taken place right in the middle of the time that there's a tremendous number of tourists in town, that the logistics of helping me getting people in here is pretty tough right now. but we're going to do the best we can to get the service out there.
Now, what are you working on upstairs right now?
The mayor asked us to come back to the table, and we're going to do that. We're going to sit down and talk with the ATU and try and get this resolved and try and reach resolution with it.
You guys think you can make a deal sometime today?
I always remain as optimistic as I can.
Can you respond to the union statement that bathroom breaks are not long enough and that the bathrooms at transit centers are not open for the drivers to use?
I'm going to let Katrina answer that. You probably know more about that than I do.
Actually, there's breaks at the end of each line designed so that an operator does have a break at the end of each line before they turn back around. The company has identified over 400 different locations across the 34 routes that we offer. And we've gone and talked to the Valley businesses and specifically made arrangements that restroom facilities would be available at over 400 locations. And also there is a procedure, obviously, if you need to go to the restroom, you need to go to the restroom, and that's not been an issue in the past.
So why is it an issue now?
Honestly, I don't know. That's a mystery to me.
We also read about bereavement time. What's going on with that? Is bereavement time not given?
Oh, actually, bereavement time is given. There's 3 days if it's something local. There's 5 days, and then there's additional time that's given if it's out of state. I think we've come to terms on the bereavement issue, unless the ATU feels differently. I think that one was one that was off the table now.
Okay. Thank you very much for coming out. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Before you guys go, can we get your name spelled?
I'm sorry. Let me make sure everybody got that. My name is Ken Westbrook, Westbrook, and I am the chairman of Transdev Services North America.
My name's Katrina Heineking, Katrina, Heineking, Heineking, and I'm the general manager of Transdev for Phoenix.
Just for our own purposes, if today, for some reason, you guys come to an agreement, will the service resume immediately, or will it take time to get back to normal?
That would depend on our partnership, our agreement with the ATU, and if, but we hope we could get them back just as soon, if an agreement could be reached just as soon as possible.
Thanks.
Thank you.
You guys interested in the truth now?
Absolutely.
They told everybody except us that they were coming back to the table. And you don't hear me out. For a year, we've been negotiating this contract, and isn't it funny that they are about to renegotiate their rate with the city of Phoenix? They don't make money by selling T-shirts. They get paid taxpayer dollars based on a cost per mile. And what just happened? We just passed Proposition 104. And they get 27% increase to their service. And what do you think they're about to do with the city of Phoenix? Renegotiate that rate. And what better leverage do they have than to push us out on strike? We got her on video yesterday threatening employees, saying they're not coming back to the table unless the union only has 2 issues on the table. That she doesn't even know that discipline was an issue. But it's been in our proposal, every single proposal since day one. And the guy just sat here who hasn't been at the table since day one said, oh, the chairman of the board is here. He's going to solve this deal. They never told us bathroom breaks was an issue. It's been in our proposal every single day since day one. I talked to the mayor this morning. He goes, why don't you be a little bit more specific about the issues? Really? 2-tier. We paid for it ourselves. He just sat here and praised the medical plan that the union bargained, but didn't tell you that we saved them $5 million over 5 years. Guess what that pays for? The tiering. We bought it back ourselves, but they want it in profit. We gave them 1.15% back in wages times the group. That's $2.5 million over 5 years. That's $7.5 million that pays for the tiering, that pays for all these things that they don't know, all of a sudden don't know is an issue. So we're a little upset because I'm out on the picket line and I get a call. Oh, so you guys are going back to the table? I just talked to the mediator. He hasn't heard from him. Well, they put out a press release that everybody's agreed to go back to the table. It would have been nice had they told the union. And this is the people running the city. profiteering off of the city. Their cost proposal on this bid was $364 million. The city gave them $373 million. That's a budgeted profit of $9 million. And we gave them $7.5 million more, but they can't end the tiering that they forced down our throats last time to end the strike? And they can't just provide a clean bathroom for people? She said, well, there's bathroom locations on every route. But when you get 2 minutes to go to the bathroom, and then if you leave late, they write you up for running late because a passenger calls in and complains, was she being honest? No. Go ride a bus. Watch a driver go from one end to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next, without being able to use the bathroom, and then ask her, where's the bathroom on this route?
And let me address.
Sorry, I'm upset.
That other
I'm a little
issue
tired.
As well. There are bathrooms
We gotta
at the
get to work,
city's
Brad.
transit centers, Central Station, the Pasteur Transit Center, that administrators use, that the people that work in the offices there use, and they're locked. Drivers cannot use those bathrooms, so they end up using public facilities or other facilities where they're injured or harassed by people. We're talking about opening up bathrooms, the same bathrooms they use when they want to go downtown or wherever they are. We want those bathrooms opened up for these drivers, but it's more than that.
Look the other day. I
Sure,
took a picture of
sure.
it.
There's discipline issues. There's a retro pay issue. There's plenty of substantive issues that still remain on the table. And they didn't come here to negotiate. That's why they couldn't tell you what they were coming up here to bargain or what they were coming up here to make concessions on. They didn't come to negotiate. And that's why the strike is still continuing. And will continue to happen until we have real action on this. We'll come every day. We've been coming for weeks to waste 6, 7, 8, 9 hours a day sitting here while they do nothing. So we're here for another do nothing day.
And I just heard the general manager spout off about bereavement, how 3 days and 5 days. Well, just about every other contract we've got in the Valley is 5 and 10 days. It's not like somebody has a person in their family die once a week. You know, it doesn't happen all that often, and yet they want to hammer the operators and say, oh, if your mother dies, we'll give you 3 days to go mourn your mother or father, sister or brother. And if it's out of state, we'll give you 5 days. That, to me, is just totally ridiculous when every other company we deal with here in the Valley goes 5 and 10 minimum. And once again, we just settled a contract with Light Rail, and 5 and 10, American company, foreign company, and there was no issue with them, but there's an issue with this company.
They want the buses on strike because they're going to renegotiate the rate. And they don't have any leverage with the city of Phoenix if they renegotiate their rate and the buses are running. What do you think is going to happen when they go to the city and the First Transit, another foreign corporation, did it to solve the Super Bowl? Mayor comes in and all of a sudden the thing is settled. Who's footing the bill for that? Taxpayers. All they do is they push us out on strike, so the union is a bad guy. The operators are out there wondering whether or not they're going to be able to feed their kids. They don't get paid for strikes, not one penny. They're out there wondering whether or not they're going to be able to pay their rent. They don't want to do this. They're pushed to it by the foreign corporation who is profiteering off of the taxpayers. And the city continues to let them do it because we keep voting for people who have the system privatized. Is there a reason why Chicago is a publicly run transit system? Because it's effective and the motivation is on the service and not the profit. When you let these scumbags in, they profit off of all of us. And then they push us out on strike because the union is the bad guy, and they come in and they sit here and say, we have a responsibility to the public. No, you don't. He has a responsibility to the board of directors of a foreign corporation. The same foreign corporation that's owned by the French pension plan and come into the United States and took pensions away from every one of their employees, including us.
And I think it's important to remember that the onus is not on employees to get things straightened out. Transdev is a contractor. They bid on a contract with the city of Phoenix. So they should be working for the city of Phoenix. I think it's high time people question the mayor and council about who's running our city, Transdev or our city council, mayor, and city manager. They're supposed to work for them, and unfortunately, it seems like it's the other way around, which is why we can't make any progress in negotiations. There's no accountability for Transdev.
Do you know why he's here? We asked him to come in here because we wanted somebody at the table with us, so it's not just our word against theirs. We wanted somebody to sit for himself and watch and see what was going on because they continue to tell all the press, all the unions hard to deal with. The unions are, we're not asking for much. And what we are asking for, we paid for ourselves. And we sit there for 9 hours. We give them a document. They read it for 5 minutes and said, I can't believe the union did this, and gave us a best and final.
And they didn't even really read it.
5 minutes. You can't read. I can't read in 5 minutes, and you guys probably, your editors probably can't read in 5 minutes. We gotta roll. He's Bob Bean. He's the president of the local. I'm Michael Cornelius. I'm the financial secretary. I negotiate the contracts. Reverend, you know, I'll know Reverend.
Spell your name, so the last name we have.
BeanCornelius.
And what is his title?
He's the president of the local.
I mean, we came with our best foot forward. The international vice president of the union is here too. So we came with our negotiating
I listed
team.
them on the way down here. Things
Strong
that will
team.
settle the contract right
So
now.
hopefully by the end of the day, we've got some positive news. Am I holding my breath? No, because like everybody said, the last few times we've met here for 9-10 hours a day, and we've got absolutely nothing. And like they said, we gave them a proposal last time. We know for a fact they didn't even read it. Tom Hawk just said, we're not even going to look at this, and came in with the best and final 5 minutes later again. So,
Michael, I want to make one other additional point. The city council has a majority Democrats serving on the city council. I have never been more disappointed in a city led by Democrats than my own home city today. We're not supposed to have these kind of labor fights in a city that has a predominant a majority of Democrats on the city council. I mean, are they anti-labor or what? It flies in the face of our party's platform and values. I'm so terribly disappointed in the mayor and our city council. I mean, we've got people on that council that are involved with the Cesar Chavez Foundation, and they've been endorsed by the AFL-CIO and our leading labor groups, SEIU, and to see them stab us in the back when they're dealing with a company like Transdev hurts. And people need to know the politics behind this, too. It's very shameful that we've been sold out for political contributions from Transdev.
Thanks, guys. We got to roll. We got work. Thank you.